What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the DFS Picks and Prediction Show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where me, Weezy, Luke, and MMA Monk break down the upcoming card from a DFS perspective and give our predictions along the way. As always, we're going to go through our fight to target, our fight to fade, fighter to fade, favorite dog, favorite GPP play, favorite cash play, favorite value play, favorite dart throw. We'll talk about how we did with the lineups last week and which we all did very good. I can't wait to talk about that. And then also we'll talk about the current standings for the year. And then we'll also talk about who will potentially have to dye their hair Chris Moutinho green. So something always to look forward to. I'm here with Weezy. You looking forward to some Chris Moutinho?
Yeah, man, what a treat. Chris Moutinho versus Guido Canetti. I mean, it's that week. We've been looking forward to this for months. Here it is. Let's just pray to Jah that this fight actually takes place and that nobody gets COVID or injured at the last second here, because I don't know if I could take it. But yeah, ready to break down this whole slate, man. This is going to be a fun one.
It should be a fun one. Monk, what is up? Are you looking forward to the slate?
What is up, boys? Absolutely, man. We've got a couple of newcomers in here, some debutantes, wrestle heavy, grapple heavy guys that I'm excited to see make their debuts on top of a few other really good fights. So I am absolutely stoked for this one.
Sounds good. And last but not least, Luke, are you looking forward to this card?
Yeah, I'm pumped, dude. I think 10 of 14 fights are projected to end ITD, so we should see a lot of violence, a lot of strikes thrown, a lot of good stuff on the ground. Weird matchups. Monk brought it up. We got some debutantes in here, so definitely interesting from a construction standpoint. So let's get into it.
Should be a fun time. As always, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. It is always much appreciated. We go live every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, and me and Weezy are live on Sunday for Stat Diggers at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. First one in the chat is Luke Betya. What is up, Lou? How you doing? I hope one day when I grow up, I can be as awesome as Luke. Right now, I'm not even Johnny Parsons. There you go. Got to talk about Johnny Parsons there, Gaming Wolf. Anyone have any issues with YouTube? Not me personally. We got Sean in the chat saying, let's go Brady, let's go Sean. We got Owen as well. Sean saying, Weezy 2024. I totally agree. And Owen saying, sharpen the razors. We have some ass shavings to cash. And I agree with that as well. So as always, we're going to get started with our fight to target. And we'll start with you, Luke. Luke, what is your favorite fight to target for this card?
Yeah, I think the obvious selection is Pereira Silva with an ITD line over 85%, but I do want to play some just slight contrarian there. I'll obviously give my target, but Pereira did only score 87 points in his debut win in a second round KO. He's not a guy who's going to go out there and wrestle. He's not an output machine. So if he doesn't score a first round KO, he does have the potential to bust on this type of slate. As I touched on, 10 of 14 fights are projected to end inside the distance. So I think that is something to consider in your lineup constructions, because I do think Pereira is going to be highly owned. Once again, absolutely could hit the optimal, could smoke this dude in the first round. Just want to throw some potential hesitation out there. But my fight to target is going to be Drew Dober and Terrance McKinney. The fight has the third best ITD line on the slate at roughly 70% implied to finish. McKinney, 100% finish rate in W's. Dober, 70% finish rate in W's. Both guys just fight in a way that forces action. We also still don't know much about McKinney, as he's just kind of front-loaded a lot of finishes, but he's explosive and powerful nonetheless. At the same time, he's unproven in kind of these extended range exchanges, and he's taking on an established guy in Drew Dober, who is a solid UFC level striker. But Dober also likes to engage in the firefight and only defends strikes at 52%, which is not a good clip, especially when you're fighting an explosive guy in Terrance McKinney. So I think KOs are live from both parties, but McKinney does have a wrestling and grappling path in the fight, as well as that's pretty much what's been given the issues for Drew Dober historically. 5 of his UFC losses have come via sub. We know that McKinney comes from a credentialed wrestling background, purple belt in jiu-jitsu, can grapple, just went out there and ran through ZM 2 weeks ago. So barring like something diametrically changing from both guys' game plans, I think you have 3 of 4 finish boxes checked. I think I like someone to end up on the optimal lineup from this fight.
Yeah, I like that as well. Weezy, how about you? What fight are you targeting for this week?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I thought I was being a little cheeky not picking Pereira, the Pereira fight, and I went with Dober and McKinney as well. And I mean, like, just echoing everything else that Luke said there, Dober's really not going to break the bank for you at 9,000 either, and it's 7,200 for McKinney. That's a great punt option. I mean, the guy's finished 100% of his losses, and even at 9,000 for Dober, McKinney's been finished in all of his losses as well. You add in the fact that McKinney just fought 2 weeks ago. He'll have 2 weight cuts in 2 weeks. This is a short notice fight. He hasn't trained for Drew Dober. This is something that whoever wins this fight, it's going to be finished inside the distance. So I think it's a great one to target both sides, and the price is right as well.
Yep, for sure. I was picking that one as well, but what's another one I can give out? There's 2 obvious ones, right? You got Drew Dober, Terrance McKinney, and then you have the Pereira and Silva. I will be having a lot of the Pereira and Silva ones. So I'll just take that instead. So both guys are phenomenal finishers. Alex Pereira, a 100% finish rate in his MMA fights. Win or loss, he did get submitted in his only MMA loss. Bruno Silva, an 88% finish rate, all coming by knockout. I saw FanDuel put the fight doesn't go to decision at -750, which, I can't remember a recent fight doesn't go to decision that was -750. I think this fight, has a very good chance of ending within the first round and a half. Even the under round and a half is -170, which you don't really see that a lot. So I'm going to have both sides here. I don't mind the savings of Bruno Silva at 7,300. But I think, there's a good chance Pereira can come out here and knock him out in the first round. So, I really like the Dober fight, McKinney fight. I really do like the Alex Pereira and Silva fight as well. So those are my top 2. Monk, you going with one of those 2, or are you giving a different one here?
I'll switch it up. I also love both those picks. I had McKinney Dober, obviously, as well. I'm going to go with Trevin Jones and Javid Basharat. I know Basharat is a UFC newcomer here, but I'm very excited to see about what he can do on the ground. 6 submission wins going against Jones, who has been subbed twice in his professional career. Both of these guys pretty high volume as far as scoring points goes. If you would have put DraftKings scoring on Basharat's DWCS fight, he would have ended up with 114 points and 4.85 points per minute. Over a point per minute in takedown and 1.27 points per minute in just control time. So I'm super excited to see what he can do against Trevin Jones, who is susceptible to takedowns, allowing over 1 per 15 minutes, but does not allow a ton of control time. So I'm very interested in that matchup there. But guys, I absolutely love this fight. You're saving a little bit for Basharat. If you think of him as a top tier fighter, you're saving him. I like him a bit more than a couple guys at 9,000 that we'll probably talk about. So I do think this one could finish inside the distance, especially if Basharat gets his hands on Jones and gets him to the ground. He's going to be going for that submission. So I'm going to choose that one as my fight to target.
I like that one. And also it's going to be probably a lot lower owned than the other 2 we did talk about. So good choices there. Fight to fade. I'll kind of kick this one off. I'll go with, and by the way, this was kind of tough for me. I don't think there's a fight on the card that I'd really outright fade, but I guess the one that I'm going to pick is going to be Sodiq Yusuff going against Alex Caceres. Maybe Caceres is going to be a popular punt play this week, and I mean, he's on a 5-fight win streak. I just think this is a decent step up in competition from the guys that he has been beating, and I kind of see Sodiq Yusuff taking this one. I don't think Yusuff is going to shoot for takedowns. Maybe he knocks out Caceres, but I think Yusuff kind of wins a decision. Maybe a knockdown here or there, but 9,100, there's other guys I'd rather play, like a Ankalaev, like a Song Yadong, like a Maverick, like a Drew Dober, like an Alex Pereira. So I just don't see myself getting their Semelsberger as well. But that's going to be the fight to fade for me. Luke, how about you? What is your fight to fade for this week?
Yeah, cop out for me. I'm going Maverick and Meza, worst ITD line on the slate at roughly 33% implied to finish. Meza, has a nice head kick, has put girls down before, and she was finished in her last loss. You can make a submission case for Maverick as well, but in general, I think Meza is a pretty tough girl in the aggregate, and I think Maverick is still a developing striker who I don't think is an overt power threat to Meza. Meza was also a BJJ brown belt. She didn't get subbed with the black belt on top of her for 9 minutes in Alexis Davis. So I just see more plausible paths to finish for so many of these other fights. It's probably Maverick, grinding, wrestling-based decision where Maverick can still score well in general, but on this type of slate, I still don't think that's going to do it, even if she puts up, 90-something points in a W. There's just so many fighters, even in that mid-tier, that can exceed that in terms of your general construction.
It makes sense to me. Monk, how about you? What fight are you fading this week?
I'm going to look at Damon Jackson and Kamala Kirk here. Both guys Kirk only has one fight in the UFC. He did win that fight. He scored 58 points in that win there. It was a decision win. Damon Jackson, 2-2-1 in the UFC, 85.3 points per win. So he does score well as per minute, like 3.23 points, but that per win number is too low for my opinion. He does have the opportunity to land quite a few takedowns and work that ground game. So that is a little shaky for me, but still, Kamwela Kirk I don't know what to expect from him exactly. He has a very poor takedown defense, under 45%. He was only controlled in 18.65% of the ground time that he engaged in his first fight. Meanwhile, Jackson controlling 62%. I just feel like this one goes to decision more times than it doesn't. Kirk has no submission losses on his record. Jackson, that is his clear path to victory in most of his fights. So we will have to see what Kirk can bring here. But for now, especially with the DraftKings points per win average being as low as they are, I'm going to be fading Jackson and Kirk as a fight.
Jackson and Kirk for Monk. There you go. Weezy, how about you?
Yeah, I'm with Luke again here with the Maverick Mazo fight, and for me, it's Maverick's price at 9,400. I mean, if you look at the people around her, they're all got way better finish props, and they're better scorers on the aggregate as well. Right now, Maverick scores less than 3 DraftKings points per minute. So, in a decision win, you're talking about that's less than 75 points. So, at 9,400, that's a serious problem. And Mazo could spend long portions of this fight on her back, because when she does get taken down, she does get kind of kept there. And we do know that Maverick is probably going to be a little bit deficient in the striking here. So the path for her would be to go for takedowns. So, I don't really see either one of these ladies scoring enough for me to be rushing to roster them, especially on this card where Luke had mentioned earlier, I think we got like 10 of 14 fights favored to finish inside the distance. This is one you could pretty leave off your lineups.
There you go. The Maverick fight for Weezy as well. Let us move on to our fighter to fade, and I will kick this one off. My fighter to fade is going to be the man himself, Chris Moutinho, at 8,600. I mean, this is just a very weird fight in general. I mean, I look into Chris Moutinho, and I'm still trying to figure out what this guy's good at. I think the best attribute for Moutinho is probably his hair color at this point. I mean, I think he's getting a lot of respect for getting beat up for, 2.5 rounds. But the only problem is, Guido Canetti is like 42 years old. He has 1 round of cardio. But I think at the very least, this is going to be a very, very greasy fight. Maybe there's a finish at some point. But I'm going to say, Moutinho, 8,600. I just don't feel like getting there, honestly. Weezy, what's your fighter to fade?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest fighter to fade would be Maverick, at 9,400, but I already gave you that in the fight to fade. So I'm going to say Kamwela Kirk this week. This is more of a value thing. If you're looking to push, a lot of salary into a lineup, you got Kirk here sitting at 8,400, but the fight is a pick'em. So there's a little bit of cost savings on Damon Jackson, his opponent, and you're having to overpay just a little bit for Kirk here. He's probably even going to close as an underdog, so his price is a little much for me. He's got the second worst finish prop for anyone priced over 8,100 that isn't Maverick, and he scores less than 3 DraftKings points a minute, and I do like Jackson to win this fight. So he feels like a pretty safe guy to fade for me. But Jackson has been finishing all 4 of his losses, so if Kirk does win this fight, he could potentially be low owned and high upside, but I'm just staying away. The Macwan performance was good, but at the same time for DraftKings, it wasn't good. So, I think in a DraftKings perspective here, I think I'm going to stay away from Kirk.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't think a lot of people are going to play him, due to the line movement. Not much value there. Luke, how about you? What is your fighter to fade?
Yeah, might be an interesting selection, but I'm actually going Rountree at 8K just because he's actually scored no worse than 95 DraftKings points in a W. So that's obviously the upside you want to see. But he's taking on a solid kickboxer in Roberson who limits damage incredibly well, defending at distance at 63%. It's also important to note that Khalil hasn't landed 1 takedown spanning 11 UFC fights and hasn't shown to possess any offensive grappling upside which is ironically where Roberson struggles historically. So there's no merit to say that Khalil is going to come out here and shoot takedowns. And even the guys that Roberson is getting ran by, it's 3 black belts and 1 brown belt, which Khalil is not. And it's also important to note that Roberson's never been KO'd, spanning 13 UFC fights. So I think on this type of slate, people might see the upside from Rountree based on his, general W potential in a win, but I really don't see it here. I mean, I think he's really KO one or bust at 8K. So I think he might get more ownership than he actually deserves. And I'm willing to be incredibly low owned to Khalil this week.
Makes sense to me. Monk, how about you?
I like that a lot. Weezy, just to touch on what you said about Kamwela Kirk, he was $6,800 in his first fight. He's now $8,400 after scoring less than 60 DraftKings points. So I totally agree there. I'm going to go way out of left field. I just called an audible. I was going to go Alex Caceres. I'm going Magomed Ankalaev here, guys. He is too expensive to make the optimal lineup, in my opinion. $9,600. This is a complete salary voodoo play. The $9,600 salary has been used 8 times. It's only made the optimal lineup once out of those 8 times, and that was Marvin Vettori against Kevin Holland. He scored like 160 points, 150, something like that. This salary is simply too expensive to make the optimal lineup. If any underdogs win and score over 100 points, Magomed Ankalaev's right out of the optimal lineup. I mean, that's pretty much a guarantee, unless he scores 130, 140, 150 against Thiago Santos, which in my opinion is not going to happen. He'll probably finish Santos relatively early, first, second round, in my opinion. But even if it does go all 5 rounds, I don't think he's going to hit that 131. I don't think he's going to pay off the salary. And even if he does get that 10x, maybe 11x, I don't think he's going to make the optimal lineup with all the dogs that we have barking this week. Like I said, if they put up triple digits, man, he's off the optimal lineup. So I'm going to be fading Ankalaev, not to 0, but I will be way under-owned to the field.
Nice. And yeah, he is probably going to be one of the highest owned fighters on the entire slate. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think fading it in tournaments is definitely worth noting. Let us move on to our favorite dog, and we will start with you, Weezy. Who's your favorite dog this week?
This was one I kind of had problems with. I had them all lined up. I'm looking at them and I'm saying, which one of these guys do I want to pick for the show? And it took me a minute, but then when I settled on one, I kind of like what I'm coming up with here, and it's Trevin Jones. Actually, I actually am picking Basharat to win the fight, but he's got the 3rd best inside the distance line of all the underdogs on the slate, and this will be the highest level of competition that the Snow Leopard has faced thus far in his career. Trevin might choose to wrestle here. He can win minutes on the ground, and he's way more experienced. I think he's a sneaky, potentially low-owned dog here, but with big-time finish upside. And, I think that we've only seen him get 2 takedowns in the UFC, but when he gets the takedowns, he does really well advancing positions and threatening with submissions here. I think his ground game is being a little bit overrated, and he has that high upside power in that right hand that he leads with. So I think he could be a decent option here, and he's only 7,500, you guys. So Trevin Jones, high upside option here. The most recent loss against Kakramanov, that guy is a good prospect. I think that Basharat's a good prospect too, but I don't know if he's on Kakramanov's level.
Yeah, I like that call for sure. For me, I'm going to go with Terrance McKinney, 7,200. So the line's closed up quite a bit. I think I saw Dober at like -162 last time I checked. So maybe a little bit of odds value there, but we know McKinney at this point. He's going to go in there. I think in this fight, he's probably going to look for takedowns early. He's going to try to submit Drew Dober early. Drew Dober does have, I think, like 4 submission losses on his record. I will say if this does get out of the first round, I have some concerns, but if McKinney wins, I think there's a very good chance that it will be in that first round and a half. So I'm willing to take some shots on him at 7,200. I think he has a ton of upside. I am picking him to lose, but the 7,200 is a good price to target, in my opinion, for some solid upside there. Luke, how about you? Who you liking as a dog?
Yeah, I'm going right with you at McKinney at 7.2. All the concerns, obviously, with him in an extended fight, but you can't ignore, his upside, 100% finish rate. Dober's going to brawl with him. McKinney has passed to victory on the ground, so you got wrestling upside, grappling points there. McKinney's probably going to be highly owned, but with him only at +200 inside the distance makes him one of the livest dogs to finish. And to your point, Brady, the dude's just gotten bet down ridiculously throughout this week. So you got a guy who's 7.2 on DraftKings, who's only 40% implied to win his fight as a whole. I mean, you don't see that, every day of the week. It could be categorically wrong, and it's just recency bias, and Dober goes out there and smokes him. I wouldn't be shocked. But from a DraftKings perspective, you can't concede what his upside is when he has multiple paths to finish, and he's only 40% implied to win the fight as a whole. So you got to have some McKinney here this week, boys.
Yeah, totally agree. And like you said, he's going to be very high owned, but I mean, I think for a solid reason there. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking as a dog?
I'm gonna go way down to the second lowest salary here. It's Sabina Mazo. Like you guys were saying before, Miranda Maverick at 9,400 seems outrageously expensive to me. Sabina Mazo coming in on the other side, 6,800. Listen to these numbers: 3.42 raw DraftKings points per minute. That's the 5th highest on the card. 104.77 points per win, guys, in 3 wins. That is a huge number, especially for the women's flyweight class. Also, it's 3rd highest on the card. She has given up a decent amount of points per minute, but only allowing 88 when she loses. She is $1,700 lower than her average salary here. And I just think you can expose Maverick, especially in the takedown game, as she has shown. Maverick allows 1 point per minute in takedowns and 0.65 points a minute in just control time. That is not Sabina Mazo's strong point, but she does have points there, 0.24 a minute in takedowns and 0.29 in control time. So, she, over half a point in grappling per minute. I do like that. The striking pace that she puts on, 2.77 striking points a minute. That is the 2nd highest on the entire card, no matter the gender, no matter the weight class. Her strength of schedule is not great, but neither is Miranda Maverick's. Both of these ladies working off of 2 fight losing streaks. I think, honestly, Sabina Mazo has a lot more to lose by losing this fight. Miranda Maverick kind of has the name value, if you will. With the alliteration, the double M's, and her last name is Maverick. Pretty easy to market there, if you ask me. But I just think Sabino has the numbers and possibly even the potential to win this fight, at least take it to a decision and maybe pay off a couple of cash lineups. You can stash her at the very low salary and pay up for someone that's going to get you a guaranteed win. So I'm going to go Sabina Mazo this week.
Nice. I like that call, especially like you mentioned in cash. I think you can get a pretty safe floor there at the price tag. So yeah, I do like that. Let us move on to our favorite GPP play, and I will kick this one off. I'm just going to go to this fight that is a GPP fight, and it's going to be Alex Pereira, Bruno Silva. I will go with Alex Pereira at 8,900. So Bruno Silva did come out in an interview today saying that he's going to stand and bang basically with Alex Pereira, and I don't blame him for a second. I mean, I don't believe him for a second, but if he does, he's probably getting knocked out. He has never been knocked out professionally, but I did see him knocked out on the Ultimate Fighter a few years back. Alex Pereira has a ton of power. He's going to be the better striker. And if Bruno Silva does not get this down to the mat, I think there's a very good chance he gets knocked out. On top of that, Alex Pereira, a 4-inch height advantage, a 6-inch reach advantage. Just another thing that Bruno Silva is going to have to deal with on the feet. So 8,900, I think it's worth some shots. I think if he wins, it's a good chances in the first or second round. Luke, how about you? Who are you liking for a GPP play?
I like Song at 9.2, 3rd best ITD line on the slate at roughly 50% implied, and the 4th best round 1 prop. He's still young, at 24 years old, but a wealth of experience, and actually has 25 pro fights at 24. You don't see that too often. And Moraes, has been KO'd in his last 4 losses and finished in 8 of his 9 pro losses overall. Song, is just a guy that's going to push a consistent pace and is going to throw a high volume of strikes. Moraes significantly has slowed after the first round when, that just is not going to bode well when that type of pressure and pace is applied from Song. And Moraes isn't, immune to being taken down or finished on the mat either. I do think that Moraes is probably the best fighter that Song has fought, but in general, he's kind of just front loaded a bunch of KOs. And if you really go back and watch his overall run, I don't think it's that impressive. So I'd like Song for his upside in GPPs this week, as Moraes is probably round 1 KO or bust. Like, he's just not going to deal with this pressure that Song brings well at all. I like Song to finish.
Yeah, and that's a fight we haven't really talked about much, but I think it's a great fight to target because if Moraes wins, it's probably going to be in the first round. And I think Song's live for a finish pretty much in every round. So I do like that call. Weezy, how about you? Who is your favorite GPP play?
Yeah, I went with Pereira as well. We just haven't seen Silva even get a takedown yet in the UFC. And even on the regional scene, he does shoot for them occasionally, but you can tell he's a lot more comfortable on the feet. But 32.5% striking defense for Bruno Silva thus far in the UFC. So that is a very bad thing, especially against a guy like Pereira. You add in the reach advantage, you add in the technical kickboxing abilities, and I do think that Pereira's got a lot of upside here for a first round finish. And at 8,900, there's like 6 people that are priced higher than him. He's got the best inside distance line on the slate, so I think it's a pretty safe, play here for a GPP.
Yeah, totally agree. 32% striking defense is not ideal against Pereira. Monk, how about you? What are you liking?
I like to keep it different, but I am going to echo what Luke said. Song Yadong, my absolute favorite GPP play, going against, like he said, Marlon Moraes. Very, very chinny. 4 knockouts in his last 4 losses. I mean, he's 1-4 in his last 4. Absolutely insane. Where you think about where this guy's come to where he is now. Song Yadong, let's talk about him. Over 3 points per minute, 93 points in a win. So not the highest, but that's if you think he's going to win, he's going to get you around 93 points or so. And even since Moraes is so chinny, you got to expect some sort of finish bonus in there as well. So I'm thinking over triple digits for Song when he does win by KO TKO, which is how I would expect this fight to finish. 105.62 at 9,200. That could be good enough to make the optimal lineup. In Song's 7 wins, 3 of them he has scored over 100. 4 of them he has scored over 90. So a very consistent fighter in his wins, which is exactly what you're looking for, averaging just under 60 bonus points per win. So again, that's right at the second round finish mark, which would be fantastic. He has a great strength of schedule, but so does Moraes. That is his best stat category as far as I can see in the comparison between Moraes and Song. But I just think Song is on the way up and Moraes is on the way down. So I'll be picking Song as my favorite GPP play.
There we go. Can't argue that. Let us move on to our favorite cash play. I will kick this one off. I'm going to go with Magomed Ankalaev. And like you said, Monk, I don't mind fading Ankalaev in tournaments, but as far as cash, I just feel really safe going up, paying 9,600 for him. I feel like there's a very good chance to win, as the odds do indicate. I think he's minus 550 on some books, minus 600 even. And I think, Santos is, well towards the end of his career, 38 years old. He had those knee injuries after the John Jones fight. He just has not looked the same. I just think Ankalaev has a good chance to potentially finish. Santos has been finished 6 times as well. And I just feel safe getting him in my cash lineup there. So give me Ankalaev for cash, 9,600. I know it's expensive, but I do like him there. Weezy, how about you? What are you liking?
I'm going with Azamat Murzakanov here. I love the upside for Azamat. He's the more well-rounded fighter here. He has more combat sports experience. Azamat has finished all of his wins inside the distance, and then one he did not finish was against a heavyweight, and it was only a 2-round fight. And he had another fight later on that night as well, so which he did finish. So, I have Azamat down as my ass shaving of the week. And if you want to take home the cheddar, you need some fighters that are fitting to shave some ass on Saturday. And I believe Azamat is going to be one of those cats. And at 8,700 or 8,800 here too, the price is right. I mean, he is absolutely a finisher. And, in Chukwi with the kickboxing background, he's really good there. But Azamat's kickboxing is very good as well. But he's going to be faster, and he's going to be the much, much better grappler here. So give me Azamat.
I like it. Monk, how about you?
I'm going to go with Damon Jackson. I know I said to fade that fight, but that was mostly for GPPs. For cash, I definitely like Damon Jackson. 7,800, so it is a dog salary, so you're saving a bit of money. 85 points when he wins. Like I said, let's see here. Over 50%. I guess that's only one fight. So he only has 2 wins in the UFC, but one of them he scored over 110 points. I just love him for the grappling and takedown upside over. Let's see, it's 1.59 points per minute in takedowns and control time put together. Those are the second highest categories, or he's second in those categories respectively on the entire card. And like I said, Kamala Kirk looked very suspect to those takedowns when he fought Amir Khan. 1.67 takedown points per minute allowed, almost a point per minute in control time allowed by Kirk. He's only got the one fight, so we really don't know for sure if that's like just what he does, you know what I mean, in the UFC. But as far as cash, I think Damon Jackson is a pretty safe play, could get the win as an underdog. And if that's the case, I mean, per decision win, Damon Jackson scores 112 points when he wins by unanimous decision. So there you go. That's good enough for the optimal, especially as a dog.
Nice. There we go. Luke, how about you?
Yeah, I'm with you, Brady, as well. I'm going Ank at 9.6. I just don't think there's like a ton of safety at the top. To be honest, there's just so many live dogs on the card, and I think you can make some more merit. Definitely, Santos could ding him, but as a guy, who's a minus 500 favorite with the fourth best ITD line on the slate at 50%, I think you have to have him as a bookend in your cash lineups, in my opinion. Obviously, with it being the main event as well, you got 25 minutes to work with. Ankalaev, KO upside, has wrestling upside, control upside, non-significant strike upside. I like Ankalaev in cash.
I'm right there with you. Let us keep moving on. We have our favorite value play. We'll start with you, Monk. What do you like it for some value this week?
I'm gonna go with AJ Fletcher. Why not? We'll pick AJ Fletcher for the favorite value play. Look, he's $6,900, one of the cheapest fighters on the card. Scored 8.33 points, hypothetical points a minute in his Dana White Contender Series fight. I mean, almost 2.49 points a minute is from grappling. So I'm strictly playing the grappling upside here against Semelsberger, who I believe was quoted somewhere, I don't know where, but as saying that his takedown game needs work, especially his takedown defense, etc. So just from hearing that and, going against AJ Fletcher, a guy that seems to love to take people down, also, did score a knockdown in his Dana White Contender Series fight as well. Probably won't win the fight. I mean, this is probably going to be a Semelsberger thing, but I mean, 9,300 for Semelsberger. The odds on Semelsberger seem outrageously high. I'm going to pick Fletcher here to pay off a possible very low price tag.
Sounds good. I do like that. I'll have some Fletcher as well. For me, for my value play, I'm going to go with Trevin Jones, 7,500. And, maybe we could be overrating Javid a little bit. And on top of that, I am 0 for 3, I think, on picking Trevin Jones fights. And I am picking Javid. So another reason to take some Jones here at 7,500, who is, going to be the more experienced fighter. He's fought the much better competition. Javid's fought absolutely nobody. And on top of that, Jones is dangerous anywhere the fight goes. This guy's a black belt in BJJ. This guy obviously has a ton of power in his hands. He's 7,500, and it looks like on Bet Online right now he's only plus 115 on the money line. So you actually don't mind some Trevin Jones here at that price tag. I know, Weezy, you talked about him a little bit as well. Yeah, so I don't mind some Jones there. Weezy, how about you?
So for the value play, I got Gillian Roberson this week. She's got the 7th best inside the distance line on the slate, but the 11th highest salary. So there's some value there. But where the value really comes in is the fact that she's priced at 8,500, and when Gillian wins, she's averaging over 102 points in her wins. And if you look at the scores, like the worst score that she's gotten a win is like high 90s. So she's always using that grappling in order to get those wins. She gets a lot of finishes. And as far as JJ Aldrich goes, I mean, I really like her. She's very experienced in the UFC. She's had a ton of fights. She's well-rounded. She's got a good Brazilian jiu-jitsu game, but she hasn't seen somebody in the 125-pound division that's going to bring the wrestling-heavy game plan that Gillian's going to bring. And Gillian's BJJ is just next level for this division right now. So I think that she's a really good value here. If Gillian wins this fight at 8,500, I think she's going to be probably on this optimal lineup.
Totally agree. If Gillian gets away in this fight, she should score well. And out of that fight, it probably would be Roberson or pass for me as well. I do like that call. Luke, how about you?
Going Bruno Silva, 7.3K. Gonna take my blood pressure medication, but kind of right along with McKinney, one of the best ITD lines on the slate of any dog at roughly 33% implied to finish with a good round one prop, at 20% at 7.3. That's actually pretty good. Obviously, savage kickboxer in Pereira, who he's taking on, who's dangerous, but Silva is as well. The guy's got an 86% KO rate in his Ws. He's a black belt to boot who does have a path to victory on the ground in this fight. We just saw Pereira drop his debut in the first round via wrestling, and Pereira is just green in terms of his general MMA experience with only 5 pro fights in comparison to Silva, who's had 28, who's fought over in Russia and even fought over in some of the extended fights as well in 4th and 5th rounds. So if Silva is able to win this fight, he is going to score over 100 points. I'm pretty certain about that. So In addition, I think you're getting leverage to the field because I think that Pereira is going to be one of the highest owned at 8.9 because of his ITD line, because of his round one prop. And don't get me wrong, he could very well smoke Bruno Silva here. I would not be shocked at all. But I think if Bruno Silva goes out there and puts on his singlet, he's got a path to grind this dude, and he has the ground, not only the power on the feet, but he's got nasty ground and pound when he gets in guys' guards to go out there and put dudes out too. So Bruno Silva at 7.3, I think, is a very interesting value play in relation to his upside in this fight.
I like it. I like it. I will have my fair share. Lastly, we'll do our dart throw here. I'm curious to hear your guys' takes on these ones. I will start from me, but the dart throw is going to be Marlon Moraes. And yeah, it's crazy. We talked about a little bit, how much he's like fallen off. I mean, it was just a couple of years ago when he fought for the title. He took a round off of Henry Cejudo, but it seems like at this point, the chin's not there. He's been knocked out 6 times, but he did almost knock out Merab in his last fight. Like, he would have knocked out the majority of people. Merab, I guess, is just built different because I do not know how he was able to survive that. But, moral of the story is, I mean, this is a legit fighter, Marlon Moraes, very dangerous anywhere the fight goes, but he has about a round of gas, it looks like. So I think if he does win, I think it's going to be in the first round. I think it's easier said than done, but at 7K, if he gets a first round win, I do think he's going to be optimal. So we'll have some Marlon Moraes. I am picking him to lose, but I do like that first round upside at 7K there. Weezy, what do you like it for a dart throw this week?
Man, I had a round 1 bet on Marlon Moraes against Davalishvili, and guess who the referee was, Brady? I'll give you one guess.
Keith Peterson.
Keith Peterson, reeking of alcohol and cigarettes, stealing money out of your Uncle Weezy's pocket. How did that make me feel? Not good. But yeah, for the dart throw this week, I'm going to go with AJ Fletcher. I'm going to echo a lot of the things that Monk said. He's ultra cheap here, first of all. He's finished all but 1 pro win inside the distance. He's a unit. He's got scary finishing power, and he mixes in his wrestling. If he winds up being any good, you'll never see him at this price again. He's a great punt option. But I want to shout out somebody that watched one of my videos. My guy, Paul Brassfield, sent me a message on my videos, and he said, look up Atlas Fights 38 on Paragon Casino Resort. That is an AJ Fletcher fight that's not on the tape index. That's 3 rounds. And he winds up getting a spinning heel kick knockout in the early 3rd round of this fight, where he had probably lost the first 2 rounds. He was mixing in wrestling, but he was wearing a mask of blood. Very interesting fight, but it showed for a guy that we've only seen starching people in the first round on the tape index that he can go a full 3 rounds. He does have a win by decision. He does have a knockout win in the 3rd round in that Atlas Fights fight. So this guy might have some upside here. And at the price, with the wrestling that he's already shown on the regional scene, I think that it's a fantastic punt option. It's a great dart throw. People don't really know this guy yet. And if he winds up being somebody, he's going to be optimal this week.
Yep, sounds good to me. I think it's a great dart throw there. Monk, how about you? What do you like it for a dart throw?
I'm going to go middleweight Bruno Silva, not the flyweight. Don't get it confused. Hopefully he's not fighting Alex Pereira. Oof. But yeah, I'm going to go Bruno Silva with a dart throw. I mean, this guy he's got power in both his hands. I don't need to tell you that. If he connects with Pereira even one time, it could be it. You don't know. But that said, I don't think that's going to happen. But that's why this is called dart throw. So, I mean, plus, like Luke said, if he puts on any kind of ground game and is able to get Pereira down even one time, that's all we need to get him down one time. He could really, be a minute winner there, banking some control time, getting in mount, improving position, et cetera, et cetera. He does not have any submission wins, so I'm not expecting that at all. But again, like Luke said, the ground and pound potential is there, and all we need from him is one takedown, one trip, one mix up of the feet to get Pereira off of his base to get him down. I think that's Bruno's path to victory. So I will have some of Bruno here, and I like him for a dart throw this week.
I totally agree. Luke, what's your dart throw this week?
Going right with my boy Weezy. I like Fletcher at 6.9 as a dart throw. Came off this past season in the Contender Series, making his debut in that. The guy's got no game log. No one knows anything about the kid. Taking on a guy in Semelsberger who's looked pretty good as of late. But this Fletcher kid, he's a finisher. And what it appears, is that he's pretty well-rounded and he does have a clear path to victory. on the ground. And I think we heard Monk bring it up earlier. If you've kind of dug into Semelsberger's regional tape, homeboy ain't overtly great off his back. He's had some struggles with the defensive wrestling, and a guy in Fletcher is a dude who will shoot takedowns, does have submission competency. So it's more of a dart throw for me because we still don't have a ton of information out there on Fletcher. He's largely kind of front rolling KOs from what we've seen. So I don't know how he faces general overall adversity, which is once again why he's a dart throw. But nonetheless, on paper, he does have a path to finish in this fight. And it's also important to note that the kid's taken, a healthy amount of money this week. And, he's only 35% implied to win this fight as a whole and is the third cheapest fighter on the slate. Once again, do not see that too often. So I'm willing to have some dart throws of Fletcher this week. Semelsberger could smoke him 100%, but Fletcher does have pass in this fight at 6.9 and 100+ point upside in this fight.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of intriguing plays down in that low salary range for sure. It should be a very interesting week, but we have about 82 of you in here. If y'all can please hit the like button. And at this time, if you guys have any questions in the chat, go ahead and type them now. We will get to those. But first, we're going to go over our lineups from last week. And yeah, I cannot believe these scores. I don't think we've ever had scores that were this good. And I don't think we'll ever will again, because these were nuts. So in last place was Weezy with Colby Covington, Sergey Spivak, Devontae Smith, Jalen Turner, Mikhail Olazechuk, and Rafael dos Anjos, totaling 591.7 DraftKings points. That was last place. That's crazy. In third place was me with Umar Nurmagomedov, Colby Covington, Kevin Holland, Nikolai Negamarianu, Rafael dos Anjos, and Jorge Masvidal, totaling 619.61 DraftKings points. In second place was Luke with Colby Covington, Kevin Holland, Sergey Spivak, Dustin Jacoby, Rafael dos Anjos, and Yan Xiaonan, scoring 642.65 DraftKings points. And then in first place was Monk with Umar Nurmagomedov, Colby Covington, Jalen Turner, Mikhail Olazechuk, Rafael dos Anjos, and Tim Elliott, totaling 652.22 DraftKings points. Congrats, Monk. You got first place this week.
Thank you. Yeah, just wanted to, I'm a stat boy, so check this out. Only twice since we started doing this in the beginning of the year have any of us scored over 500 points. Twice. That's it. And the lowest score of the week was 591. Absolutely incredible. You guys, we all gave out great lineups this week. I mean, it was pretty easy to get at least 300 with a couple of fighters, but still, you got to fill out the rest. So I made a last-second Jalen Turner switch out with over Devontae Smith, which really paid off.
There you go. Yeah, awesome job, Monk, and really awesome job to everybody. So the season totals, we have 7 cards. In last place is me with 3,010.72. In third place is Luke with 3,054.66. In second place is Monk with 3,071.29. And then in first place is Weezy with 3,094.03. Congrats, Weezy. Thus far, in 7 cards, you are in first place.
How about that, man? Yeah, the green hair, it wouldn't look good on me at all. I just don't think that, I'm definitely in autumn. That's why I wear this brown sweater a lot. The green hair just wouldn't work on me. So I got to really, really try to stay ahead of you guys here, because I don't know, you guys might never see me again if I lose this bet. I just couldn't take it. It would be so bad.
I totally agree there. So now
it's all right close though, boys. Like, I think, like, what's the differential? Like, it can't be that much.
It's close, yeah. I mean, like, I'm in first, but if I have one bad week, fourth place can be in first. I mean, we're really close to each other, all of us.
First to last is within 83 points.
Yeah, we're jockeying all over the place.
That's 1 week.
It's tight. It is tight. But yeah, I'm kind of scared this week because I am not feeling good about my lineup, and I'm probably going to change it later in the week. But I'll go first with the lineup. For me, I'm going up top Ankalaev. I'm going Miranda Maverick. I'm going Karl Roberson. I'm going Damon Jackson. I am going Trevin Jones, and I am going with Silva as a punt. Weezy, do you have your lineup for this week?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to go with Drew Dober at 9,000, Alex Pereira at 8,900, Azamat Murzakanov 8,800, Gillian Robertson 8,500, then Trevin Jones at 7,500, and AJ Fletcher is my punt at 6,900.
Sounds good. How about you, Monk?
I'm going to go Magomed Ankalaev, 96, Song Yadong, 92, Javid Basharat, 87, Damon Jackson, 78, Guido Canetti, 76, and Sabina Mazo, 68.
And Luke, how about you?
Yeah, kind of similar to Monk. I'm going Ankh at 9.6, Song 9.2, Javid at 8.7, Damon at 7.8, Bruno Silva at 7.3, and Terrance McKinney at 7.2.
All right, and then we will do our quick picks and then get to any questions you guys have in the chat. I'll start it up top. Give me Magomed Ankalaev. Give me Song Yadong. Give me Sodiq Yusuff, Karl Roberson, Drew Dober, Bruno Silva, Matt Semelsberger, JJ Aldrich, Javid Basharat, Damon Jackson, Miranda Maverick, Dolce Langambula. Give me Chris Moutinho, and give me Azamat Mirzakhanov. Weezy, you have your quick picks for this week?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ankalaev, Song, Yusuff, Rountree, Dober, Pereira, Semelsberger, Gillian Roberson, Basharat, Damon Jackson, Miranda Maverick, Brundage, the Chris Montino, and Azamat Mirzakhanov to shave ass.
Here we go. Monk, how about you?
Yeah, we'll go Mirzakhanov, Guido Canetti, Dolce Lungiambula, excuse me, Miranda Maverick, Damon Jackson, Javid Basharat, Gillian Robertson, AJ Fletcher, Alex Pereira, Terrance McKinney, Karl Roberson, very weird to hear myself say that out loud, Sodiq Yusuff, Song Yadong, and Magomed Ankalaev.
Sounds good. And then Luke, how about you?
Ankalaev, Song, Yusuff, Roberson, McKinney, Silva, Fletcher, Aldrich, Basharat, Jackson, Maverick, Brundage, Moutinho, and Chukwi.
Sounds good. We have a question for Weezy. Weezy, WTF is shave ass.
That's just what I use as my, like what I think is going to be the most dominant win of the week. And I think that, when somebody wins dominantly, it's a term that I've used my whole life, an ass shaving. You got your ass shaved out there. And that's what I think is going to happen to Nchukwi this week. We'll see. Of course, Luke's on the other fucking side, like he always is when I pick my ass shaving the week. That's all right, man. We'll roll with it. We're sticking with it. I think Azamat's better everywhere, so we'll find out.
Awesome. So yeah, you have your ass shaving as Azamat. I'm curious to hear our ass shavings. Monk, do you have an ass shaving this week?
Yeah, I think Song Yadong is going to shave Marlon Moraes. That's it. I think it's going to be over quick. I think I did see a comment in the chat here saying that if Moraes puts it on him, Song Yadong's going down. Did you see the head kick that Song Yadong ate from Kyler Phillips?
Yeah.
This guy's not going anywhere. I think Song Yadong works Moraes, whether it's early or whether it's over 3 rounds.
Luke, do you have an ass shaving this week?
Hot take, JJ Aldrich, ass shaving. I don't think Gillian Robertson lands a takedown in this fight.
Oh, shit.
That's a hot take. There you go. I like it. Cool. For me, I'm going to say that Drew Dober shaves the ass of Terrance McKinney, but I'm hoping somebody gets their ass shaved in that fight. Do you think Bruno Silva is really going to stand and bang? I don't, but apparently he did say it. But as always, you cannot listen to those interviews. So I guess that is about it. We'll toss it around here. Yeah, fake news, exactly. Monk, where can they find you? What do you have going on throughout the week? I know you put out a video today on the MMA Engine.
Yeah, sorry, I was doing my Colby Covington impression there. I have a game theory video out on my channel, Monk Maddox on YouTube, where I discuss all 14 fights from a strictly DraftKings perspective. I'm kind of giving leans, but I'm just really giving you all the statistics you need to help build your lineups. Check out MMA Engine channel on Twitter and on YouTube, guys. Like and subscribe to that channel. I just put out a salary voodoo video today. It's about 15 minutes long, where we took 3 fights and kind of broke them down just from a salary voodoo perspective, strictly probability style way of contributing to your lineup construction. So I've got that stuff going on. Friday, check us out. I just did mention MMA Engine. Let me say it again. Like and subscribe. Me and Lou Betya at Lou Betya on Twitter. Check us out. We are doing the Monk and Lou's happy hour at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 Eastern. It'll probably be about an hour and a half where Lou goes through and discusses all of the lines and whatnot. I'll discuss DraftKings things. We'll argue, we'll laugh, we'll hug, we'll cry. It'll be a great time. So please join us there. Thanks, guys.
Sounds good. Yeah, go check out all Monk stuff. Luke, how about you? What do you have going on, and where can they find you?
Club and Sub tonight on YouTube, running through the card from a betting perspective with me and my boys, roundtable of other gamblers at 10 p.m. Eastern, patreon.com/SWR betting. Bets, content, for content pieces a week, breakdowns, podcasts, prop article, parlay article. Just dropped a couple of those tonight. Yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get it this week.
Sounds good. Go check out Luke. Does a great job as well. And then Weezy, where can they find you? What do you have going on throughout the week? I heard you're going balls deep tonight.
Yeah, 10:30. We're going to go balls deep breakdown after the Club and Sub boys are done tonight. I think that'll be 10:30 Central Time, 11:30 Eastern. I'm going to do that Drew Dober versus Terrance McKinney fight. It's such a great fight. It's such an interesting fight. We've got the short notice angle. We've got the wrestling angle of McKinney. We've got the kickboxing of Dober. Should be a great fight to break down. As always, you can check me out on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy, and you can find me right here on Pub Sports Radio today, for the DFS show, but every Sunday with DFS by the numbers for stat diggers. And you can also find me on the MMA Engine YouTube channel as well, doing balls deep breakdowns. And we're going to be starting a prop show one of these weeks, me and Brady, and I don't even know who else is going to do it with us, but we've got to get these props out, man. This is always a great way to make money. So that's where you can find me. God bless each and every one of you guys for hanging out with us, and let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 50.
Let's do it. And you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, YouTube, DFS by the numbers, here on Pub Sports Radio, and also on the MMA Engine channel as well. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. It's always appreciated. We'll talk to you all very, very soon. Good luck for UFC Vegas 50. Let's make some money.